Social media, the ruin of modern day relationships. So, I had a question posed to me. My new girlfriend, basically, his question was, my new girlfriend has social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, and has pictures of her ex in those, old pictures in her photos. Should I worry about that? Should I care about that because it bothers me, kind of thing. So that's that's the question paraphrased. All right. So first of all, you got to understand. So why would it bother you? Well, the reason it bothers you is because the biggest existential threat to a man is not being maximally is having a woman who doesn't have the most amount of genuine desire for him. Okay, that is the existential threat to a man, is that he commits to, he abandons his sexual strategy, which is to spread seed amongst many different women, to be with a woman who doesn't have maximal sexual desire for him, doesn't have maximal genuine desire for him. Okay, because she's pining for an ex, or holding on to memories of that ex-boyfriend, or because she's, hoping to hook up with Kevin from sales at work or whatever, right? But I mean, that's the biggest existential threat. There's evolutionary reasons for that has to do with paternal certainty. A guy wants to know his resources are going towards his genes. He wants to know that he wasn't lied to and that his genes die off with him, but that his genes are in fact going into the next generation because the baby is his, okay? So that's the caveman reasoning behind that existential, why that existential threat is a thing, okay? So that is why when you see pictures of her with her ex, it bothers you, all right? Because it brings up the question, does she have maximum genuine desire for you? And if you're going to commit to her, then she better, okay? The worst thing a man can do is commit to a woman who doesn't have genuine desire for him. But here's the problem. If you're Mr. Good Enough, she will make you feel like she has genuine desire for you enough to keep you there, right? She'll tell you she has genuine desire for you. She will say the right things and even sometimes do the right things, at least in the beginning, because you're Mr. Good Enough and you're good enough for now. All right. But that ex comes along that she's making out with from 2 years ago, or the new guy comes along and now you're no longer good enough. You see how that works? So now here's what you don't do. A natural alpha will just start telling the chick what to do. Hey, what the fuck? You got this picture of your ex, you're making out with them, get rid of it, Or the beta male will start complaining about it or hinting around about it or whatever and be a weak bitch about it. Either one, she's going to, if she's not ready to remove that, or it doesn't matter if she is, she's going to blame this on you. She's going to say that you're insecure, because see, women like to take a man's standards, and when they violate that standard, they like to say, well, you're insecure because I violated the standard that you have. Okay, that's what they like to do. So she'll perceive you as being insecure. She'll perceive this other guy as an actual threat to you, which makes his SMV higher in her perception. And she did used to fuck him a lot, so you know what? That's probably not a good idea, right? Probably not a good idea to make the ex seem like he's a threat. All right, and he shouldn't be. And if he is, then don't be in a relationship with her. You see how this works? So what you're going to do, instead of being a whiny beta male or a controlling asshole natural alpha, is you're going to be a better alpha than that. All right? And first of all, you're not going to make big deals about things that don't matter, and you're not going to give a fuck. You don't give a fuck because if she's not the one, you'll replace her. You know what I'm saying? That's why you don't give a fuck. All right? So if she's good for a long-term relationship, she'll prove it through her behavior. If she doesn't, you're going to next her ass anyway. That's why you don't give a fuck. You have an abundance mentality. If you're worried about this shit and crying about this shit, it's because you don't have that abundance mentality, and so that's what we need to then work on, okay? Well, let's assume you have an abundance mentality. You don't want to tell her what to do. You don't want to even bring it up. And the reason why is this. The medium is the message, okay? Her actions will tell you how she's actually feeling. All right. Sometimes, in fact, we'll say a lot of times to all the time, when a woman's words are not congruent with her actions because she's not being truthful. When she says to her boyfriend, "Oh, you're the only one I want to be with, and you're the best," and all that kind of shit, and whatever, uses that kind of stuff. Let's be together forever. She's lying. Okay, she's lying to herself. She might emotionally feel that way at the time, but she's lying to him too, because she knows that she needs to make Mr. Goodenough feel like he's the best, so she can be in this relationship and use him for what he's there for until she can hook up with that ex again, maybe, or move on to something better. You see, so I mean, and these are things she's often not even conscious she's doing that. But why would you remove a tool of observation for yourself by trying to control her behavior? See, controlling another person's behavior is always a losing proposition. I know, I've been there, okay? I'm more of that natural alpha who I'm going to tell somebody, "Hey, what the fuck is this?" and tell them what to do. It's cute, and they may even think that's attractive at the time you're doing it. But here's the problem with that, is you don't really get to gauge or see where their actual feelings are at. Because they'll do what they're told because it serves their purpose now. But when it no longer serves their purpose anymore, if it wasn't something they genuinely wanted to do, then they will fall back into their old behavior. Or they will do that or something worse. You see what I'm saying? They will defy what you told them because they don't really want to do it. So they have to do things because they want to, not because you're trying to control them and tell them to. So this is why you're not going to bring up to your girl, your new girl, that, "Hey, you have pictures of you with your ex," or whatever. Like, this is not a discussion you're going to have. The medium is the message, and observe, okay? So let's first of all look at her overall social media behavior. Most women, especially if they're under 30, are all over social media all the time, okay? If she is that person, then she knows full fucking well she has these photos. And she may give you all the excuses in the world, but there's a reason she's not removing them. It's because her genuine desire is not there for you yet, okay? Now, that's okay. A relationship is in a continuum, okay? So, like, example, this is why you're not marrying a person the first time you go on, first time you meet them, right? Like, there's stages and steps in a continuum in this relationship. She is not, if you may have decided to be a long-term thing with this person, I wouldn't have, by the way. It's not something I would recommend, but, if she's not, so you have to, it's a continuum. You have to look at what her behavior and her actions are. And, if she's not removing those old photos yet or any of that stuff, it could be just because you're not there yet. But then what you don't do is you don't progress along in the relationship. You see what I'm saying? So you stay where you're at the very least, and if not, you're going to next or you're going to move on, okay, at some point, if it never fixes or corrects itself. Now, let's back up for a second. If she's not on social media very often, okay, then she might not even realize, or might not be a thought in her head to remove that stuff. But at what point is it going to be a thought, right? Because social media is what you're presenting to the world. If you have photos of yourself on social media, you're presenting a message to the world with those photos, those messages, those posts, and so on. So what are you presenting? If she has pictures of her in loving relationship situations with an ex, that is what she's presenting. I don't care if it was from 2009, okay? She's presenting that to the world, and what she's presenting to the world is that I'm hanging on to these memories of this great romantic time I had with this person. So you got to ask yourself, is that okay with you? Personally, it's not okay with me. If I'm going to abandon my sexual strategy to fuck a bunch of women and do what I want and not be held accountable to anybody, to make myself accountable to one person or to a person in a relationship of some sort, then I'm going to expect certain things, and I'm not going to be okay with hanging on to the memories of being with this other person. That's just me. You have to decide. I think if you're an alpha male and you're worth shit, that's not going to be okay with you either. You know what I'm saying? So, you gotta, if she's on there all the time, then she knows that shit's there. All right. So what is the answer? What do you do? Oh, well, first of all, here's another point, a data point. is, does she present herself as single on social media? Or does she say that she's in a relationship? Does she have pictures of you guys? That makes a big difference. If she's presenting herself as single and then she has pictures of the ex, you're single. You understand? The medium is the message. She does that. I don't care if you had a discussion about being sexually exclusive. You're not. And you don't have to make a big announcement about it. Just start talking to other chicks. Who gives a shit? Stop hanging out with her. Whatever. She'll notice and she'll be mad at you and you'll say, well, according to your social media account, you're single. So we're single then. You know, you want to behave like we're in a relation. You want a relationship, you have to behave like your relationship material. That's the answer. She didn't fucking like it. There's the curb, and then there's another girl. You get what I'm saying? You fucking catching on? All right. So that if she's presenting herself as single, you're not in a relationship. That's it. End of story. Now, let's say she's not presenting herself as single. She has the message she's giving to the world is that she's with you. She's had some photos of you guys, you know, she's got the status and all that stuff. Cool. All right. But she still has all these old photos. Could be an oversight. Probably not. Okay? So again, the medium is the message. So what is she going to do about that, right? At what point is she going to get rid of those photos? Now let's talk about the nature of the photos. Is it something that she claims is a vacation pic and she's holding a guy's hand and licking his ear or something, right? Like it's something that you would do with a couple. And there's no pictures of the fucking vacation. It's just those two. Or is it a picture of like, hey, here's the Grand Canyon and there's two people there and they're just sort of standing there next to each other? You see, it depends on what the photo is. Or is it a group photo? If you expect her to purge every fucking ounce of anything of her ex on her social media account and to spend that level of time and energy, that's your insecurity, okay? Nobody should expect her to delete a group photo of her ex or those two at this party or whatever, you know what I'm saying? No one should expect that. But you should expect that she would delete the things that denote those two as a couple. You see what I'm saying? If she wants the relationship with you, then she's got to be willing to abandon those previous relationships. That means not hanging on to those memories and those good times. You know what I'm saying? And if she's not willing to abandon that stuff, well, then she should probably go look her ex up and, you know, see if he's still available. Or maybe see if she can go, you know, make that work, because it ain't going to work with you because you're going to walk away from that shit. You see what I'm fucking saying? All right. So now let's say they're not that. Let's say they are the romantic photos. It's her and him kissing from 2 or 3 years ago on her Instagram, where there's only like 200 fucking photos there, so it's like real easy to do a swipe and scroll down. Facebook stuff can hide at Facebook. There's a lot of albums and sometimes shit just gets missed. But what does she do when it gets missed? Does she leave it? And if you know, does she leave it there? Or does she get rid of it? You know what I'm saying? What is her behavior? That medium is the message. And so she may have overlooked stuff and may not have taken the time, but at some point that relationship should be important enough. If you're in a relationship, should be important enough to take the time to get rid of that shit. Now, I'm going to explain to you my standard as a man when it comes to this stuff. And I had to think about it. I did. You know, I really did have to think about how I wanted to handle this. Social media is like not something we evolved with, right? So what is natural? What are you supposed to do? And then women and dudes rationalize terrible behavior on social media platforms all the time. So fuck, who knows what's right, right? But here's the standard I have as a man that I recommend you adopt. If I'm in a long-term relationship with somebody, I can present those things on social media. That's the right thing to do. All right, I'm not going to give signals out that I'm available and single, you know, to other chicks if I'm committed to somebody, right? That being said, though, if that relationship breaks up, that person no longer gets that gift of my commitment. They no longer get the gift of having that presentation. I don't care if it was 10 years ago. They don't get to have the gift of me having on my social media us holding hands or kissing or, you know, doing this couple thing, like whatever, right? They don't get that gift anymore. They don't get it because that's not, that they weren't able to make the relationship work. There's no more relationship. They don't get that part of me anymore. Similarly, when they call me, text me, or whatever, especially if I'm with somebody else, I'm not talking to them and treating them like we're still in a relationship, right? They don't get that part of me. They don't get cute little messages and videos from me, and you know what I mean? They don't get that stuff. That no longer happens. That's stuff that is reserved and special for someone that I'm in a relationship with, along some level of a commitment with. And if you're not that person, you don't get those things. See, don't degrade yourself, man. Don't devalue yourself by giving shit away. Because then when you're with somebody who's worth it and special, then it doesn't mean anything. You see what I mean? So I don't give that stuff away to my exes. And you know what? I expect somebody I'm with to do the same fucking thing. And if they don't, I'm drama free. I'm not going to fight about it. I'm not going to even say a word. But I'm not planning a future with them. They continue, you know, to present like if they present on social media like they're single, there is no commitment. They have to stop doing that shit long before anything happens with a commitment at all. Okay? If they want to hang on to pictures and things of exes, and I've already been in a commitment, and I look and I find out, oh shit, you know, because who's actually stalking that stuff, right? So you just kind of find out it's still there. Okay. But then that commitment doesn't go forward anymore. I'm not planning a big future with this person. I'm assuming this person is going to be out the door at some point, you know, and so I'll give them the time to give a fuck and put the effort into sending the right message out into the world. But if they're not willing to do that, not willing to take the effort to just go back through their damn photos and get rid of some shit that maybe presents themselves with a couple, you know, then we're just not really going to progress anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And at some point, that commitment's over with. When I decide that I'm done with it, and it's probably not going to be just because of social media, it'll probably be like a couple things too. Because what she's demonstrating is that her desire is not where I want it. She does not, for whatever reason, even though there's a fucking lineup of girls, a lineup of women that would have maximum desire for me, maximum genuine desire. For some reason, this one does not, or is choosing not to, or whatever the fuck. Or at least she's presenting that she's not. Well, I'll go with somebody else then. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to eventually open those doors up, and I'm eventually going to close this off, you know? So that's your answer. You don't make drama. You don't create a fucking problem, but you observe and you set your standards and you act on it. Okay? I wouldn't say a word, man, about, okay, your ex is in there. But where are you going with this relationship? You're not going anywhere. Don't take it any further. And in fact, you know, after a certain point, if she's not willing to fix it, then just open it up. Tell her, you know what? I'm going to start dating, just so you know. If she's confused about that, well, figure it out. All right? You know, so that's what you do. You do it. You just act. And if she has a problem, well, then she can start acting like she's in a fucking relationship then, huh? Oh. All right. Telling you dudes, these women want to do whatever the fuck and not be held accountable for their actions. They want to maximize their hypergamy, their mating strategy. Use your commitment. Use your resources. Use what you have to offer until the next thing comes along. Do not allow for that. Don't allow it to happen. You shouldn't really even be in a commitment in the first place if she's unwilling to do that stuff. Now, women will rationalize everything. So when her genuine desire is not to a point where she wants to be with you exclusively and not pine for past memories of other dudes whose dicks she sucked, if that's like, you know, she wants to that, then this won't be an issue. She'll do it on her own volition. And if it ever comes up in a conversation, she'll just do it, you know, and she won't give any pushback. But if she's giving you the rationalizations that, well, but those are my memories. Really? You want to hang on to memories of you being with somebody else. Cool. Then hang on to them, but we're not making any. You know, you can fucking get smashed and get the fuck out of my house. Okay? Like, other than that, why would you suspend, as a man, why would you suspend your sexual strategy of spreading seed amongst multiple women and finding the best chick for you with somebody who wants to hold on to memories of some dick she used to take from somebody different than you? And I don't care. It doesn't matter about the guy, by the way. I don't care if he's a fat fuck. I don't care if he's a loser. I don't care if he's like 6.5 feet tall and jacked with a huge dick, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if he's got $1 billion or 2 cents in his pocket. It doesn't matter who the guy is. It doesn't matter if he's a threat or not a threat. That's not the point. You get it? She's hanging on to those memories for a reason. Who gives a shit why? You know? Who cares? Because somebody else isn't going to do that. All right. Set your standards. Don't sell yourself short, men. It's a long fucking video. God dang. I've been trying to keep it under like 10 minutes and I can't do it. So I'm going to see if it uploads. Take care. Know your value and don't compromise it for anyone.